Hi, George here with something just a little bit different. I'll be taking this picture right here and removing the background. We've done that kind of thing a bunch, but this time I'm doing a series of videos. They'll all be using the exact same picture and all going for the exact same final outcome over the next several days. Once that finishes, we'll be able to see which programs can handle this task the best. Now, it's fairly straightforward here. I just want to remove that background. I also, though, want to come in and remove the braces in here. It's a little bit more work. Give it the new background and then color match the foreground to the background so that the photo looks very natural. Now I'm starting this off here in Photoshop Elements, and it's a fairly straightforward project here. First step is to make a duplicate of your background. Right-click and duplicate layer, choose OK. Hide the original, that's my safety. I always do that. Now to remove the background, fairly straightforward. If you have an older version of Photoshop Elements, simply make a selection around your subject in here and remove the background that way with the layer mask. If you have a newer version of Photoshop Elements, then just go up here to select and come down to subject. There we go. Basically the same thing coming up to this level. Now at this point, I do want to come in here and move this little bit of sky right here. So using the subtract setting and my brush, I'll just paint in just a bit like that. Doesn't have to be fancy. That just makes it easier for Refine Edge to clean the sky out that's showing through some of the hair strands. Okay, Refine Edge. I'll leave everything at their default. That usually works out just fine. And let's just brush right in here, right over the hair and kind of brush in from the outside like that. And right here is where taking out that bit to begin with really helps to get out that bit of sky right back in there. There we go. There's a little bit of the scarf down here that's missing. I'm just going to brush over that. That catches that just fine. And then using the hand tool here, let's move our image just like this. Back to our brush tool. And I'll continue going around the hair and just smoothing up that edge. Now we won't be able to get this real fine wispy stuff up in here. That's going to be lost in almost any program. So I'm not going to worry about that. And that's all we really have to do. Now the rest of the image looks very good. All the edges in here look real nice. They don't need anything. So let's now export this out to a new layer with layer mask and choose OK. And there we go. The background's now been removed. Next step is to bring in a new background. So I'll just bring up a new image for this. And I have one right here. I'll just drag and drop that in, get it out of the way. Control 0 to fit screen. Now the image is too small. That's fine. I'm just going to put it down here, bottom left-hand corner, kind of like that. Grab the corner control handle, and I'll stretch this up until it fits. And move it over here a little bit. Let's now drag this down below our subject layer, and there we go. That looks good. Now the background is more of a cool look, and there's a bit more of a warmth in our foreground subject, so I want to tone down the warmth in here. So let's back up here on our subject layer, go up to Layer, come down to New Adjustment Layer. This time let's use Photo Filter, and use Previous Layer, choose OK. And we have lots of options in here. Since I want to cool the foreground down, I'll try Cooling Filter. Okay, that's really too blue. Not much better in here. I think that's closer to the right colors, but it's way too strong. So let's bring our density down. Maybe about 10 looks pretty good. Come down here, click on this eye. We can hide that and then show that. And that works. It puts enough blue into her face that she's now fitting into the scene very well. Okay, next thing is to take care of these braces. And as I zoom in, let's have a little bit of a halo showing in here around the edge of our figure. Now we can take care of that. That's on the layer mask side. So click over on the layer mask side, make sure that that light blue outline is on that side of things. And then let's go over here, grab the burn tool. If you're seeing this tool up here, just come down to the tool options, click on the burn tool right there. And I'm just going to come over that layer mask and bring my exposure up about halfway. That should be good. And I'm just brushing in along the edge of the layer mask. What this does is it's going to be making the layer mask more contrasty along that edge, and that should help to get rid of that little bit of haloing that we're having in there. And it's working very nicely. Where you don't see it, you don't need to worry about it. Use the space bar to move the image a little bit. And it's very good down through here as well. Okay, that's good. Let's now work on these braces. Bring it up real large like that. Now, normally the first thing I would try in here would be coming in and using Content Aware Fill. But because it's such a tight area, I know it's not going to work, but I'll show you anyway. Make a selection around what you want to remove. I'll just do this little bit right here. Go up to Edit, come down to Fill Selection. Content Aware is right here. Choose OK. And it fills part of that, but it brought part of this over here. That's a problem when you're working in a real tight area like this. Just back out of that, Control Z. There we go. And then Control D to deselect. There's no real large area for content-aware fill to come and grab any new content. So that's not going to work for us. So instead, what I'll do is just go up here to the Clone Stamp tool and have a real small brush in here. I can maybe go a little bit larger on that. It depends upon the size of your image. I'll set this at 10 pixels. That's pretty good. And with the Clone Stamp tool, you hold the Alt key down, click on a spot, you'll copy from there and paste over someplace else. I'm just going to tap this in, just like this. Just kind of tap that in. There we go. Alt click and tap, and then Alt click, and I'll brush in like this. And just slowly work in and paint out the part of the tooth that we don't want. That's that braces in there. And that looks pretty good. And I think that works. And I can use this area here to come in and Clone Stamp over these other teeth. Again, we're working on a very tight area, so you have to be doing some repositioning frequently in here. Let's just get the tooth part first. Now this tooth is a lot darker, so I'm going to click in here and just copy some of that tooth right in there. I'm doing the teeth first. We'll come back in and get the braces in between the teeth as a second pass in here. There we go, just painting in. If you mess up like that, just grab another spot and come in and refix that. That's okay. Same thing over here, and then right back over here. Okay, now for the back area, same exact trick. We're just changing where we're grabbing from. You just want to match the content. I'm going to bring my brush size down and set this down to 5 pixels. And I'll grab a little bit of the gums right here, Alt and click, and let's just come in and tap on that spot. That works. Same thing over here, Alt and click, and it's going to bring that in. And then right here, Alt click, just get rid of those wires that are showing there. There we go. And that cleans out the braces. If you want to, you can lighten the teeth up a little bit. Lots of ways of doing this. And I'll do this with an adjustment layer. Up here to layer, come down to new adjustment layer. I'll use levels. Use previous layer, that's correct. Here we go. I'm going to bring my lights in a bit here. Now it's going to lighten up everything. That's okay. I'm just looking at the teeth. Bring it up about that far. Now, whenever you come in and you make an adjustment layer, you automatically get a new layer mask. So let's change our colors here to black. I'm going to grab my paint bucket and click on that layer mask. That fills the layer mask with black. Let's now go back here to white. Grab my paintbrush, and I can paint white right onto that layer mask and show just the teeth part in here. So I can come in and then just lighten those up. So I'm using that adjustment layer just on the teeth and nothing else. Okay, and back out. Let's do the Control 0. And there we go. I think that's a very successful job here at changing out that background. Looks real natural. This is the kind of thing that Photoshop Elements is very good at. If you want to change the values of the overall picture, what you do is you just go up here to the very top, put a new layer in. So you can do this in a clean manner. Layer, new adjustment layer, and levels. Don't check that checkbox. Choose OK. The reason I put this layer in here was to separate this out from these two adjustment layers so it doesn't automatically go into those layers. And now we can come in and actually make some adjustments for the overall picture, kind of tighten things up a little bit contrast-wise, make it a bit more interesting. There we go, a bit more contrasty. There's before and there's after. And there we go, a successful job at replacing that background. Then tomorrow I'll repeat this exact same demonstration, but using a different software package. If you want to learn more about how to use Photoshop Elements, I do have a training course for this. You'll find a link for that at the top of the description. If you want to make sure that you see this whole series of videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of those. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. I appreciate that. And I'll see you next time.